Okay, so now this is going to be the part 2 for the chapter 3, because I didn't do this last time with my last class. So what you guys will get is you get this little extra little part. And this is actually trying to find the equation of a exponential equation. Okay, so we're going to do one with the table, and then we're going to do one with the graph itself. So I'm going to do one with the table. I'm going to do this one right here. Actually, you know what? Let's do this one right here. Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to actually look at this and we're going to try to figure out what is our equation based off of what we have. So we have a couple of different steps. The first step is we need to figure out what is the difference between all these values. So what you do is you take the second number, subtract the first number. Okay, so 2 minus 6 gives me negative 4. 0 minus 2 gives me negative 2. Negative 1 minus 0 gives me negative 1. Negative 1.5 minus a negative 1 gives me negative 0.5. And then these two would be negative 1.75 minus negative 1.5, which gives me negative 0.25. Okay, so these are all the differences between these numbers. Our next set, the reason why we're doing this, we're trying to find the rate of change. We first have to look at the x's, make sure that these are going in order. If not, then we'd also have to do the same thing with the x's and do this whole thing over again. But since they're all going in order, we can just shortcut this. So we've got negative 4, negative 2, negative 1, negative 0.5, and negative 0.25. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick two numbers that are right next to each other. I'm going to do this 4 and this 2. You're always going to take the second number divided by the first number. All right, in this case, it's negative 2 divided by negative 4. And if you reduce this down, because both of the top and bottom can be reduced by negative 2, you end up with 1/2. This is our rate of change, or how fast this thing is going up, or down. Technically, we're doing something, and we're technically multiplying it by 1/2 each time. All right, so this is rate of change. Second thing we need to find is called our asymptote. Now our asymptote is the point at which the graph will not cross. So what we have to do is we have to find the lowest point we've got. In this case, it is negative 1.75. Once we've found that, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what is the closest whole number to this number. Well, I know that negative 1.75, since it's negative 1, has to be between negative 1 and negative 2. And what it looks like is this number right here is closer to negative 2. So my asymptote is going to go right there. Our last step is to plug it into our formula that we know. There's something called a constant multiplier. And then there's the rate of change, that's what we've already found, to the x power. We're going to add or subtract whatever the asymptote is. Okay? Now, I know my rate of change is 1/2. I know my asymptote is minus 2. So the only thing I need to find is this thing right here, my constant multiplier. In order to do this, we're going to assume that we take the x value 0. If you take anything to the power of 0, it makes a 1. So we can essentially just say, all right, at this point, this doesn't exist anymore. All right. So we're going to figure out what number minus 2, okay, gives me the value of 0. So we're looking for, when the x value is 0, what is the y value? In this case, it's 0. And we're going to figure out what number plus or minus the asymptote would give me this number right here. So in this case, what number minus 2 gives me 0? Well, I know one number that, if we subtract 2 from it, will give me 0, and that is 2. So this is my equation I used to find this table up here. And so we're going to do this again, but with the graph itself. And this only has one extra step to it. Okay. And this extra step, we're going to do this first one. Okay. This first step is actually just making the table itself. Is because we don't have a table like we did in the last one. We need that table. So first I'm going to look at all these points that are dots. So I got -2, 2. I've got negative, oh sorry, that's -3, 2. I have -2, 3. I have -1, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I have 0, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so on and so forth. And then I can do this last one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's 1, 16. And now I'm going to repeat the exact same steps I did before. But with the asymptote, it's pretty easy to find the asymptote because you just look for the line that this gets really close to but never touches. So in this case, my asymptote is 1. I'm just going to skip that step. Let's just say that's 1, okay? So this step, we figure out how far these are apart. So this is 3 minus 2, which gives me 1. 5 minus 2, which gives me 2. 9 minus 5, which gives me 4. And then 16 minus 9, which gives me... Let me make sure this is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, I'm sorry. That should be a 17 right there. That's where I messed up at. Alright, so 17 minus 9 gives me 8. Okay? And so now what I do is I got to figure out my rate of change. So I pick two numbers. I'm going to pick 4 and 2. Take the second number divided by the first number. That gives me 2, so this is my rate of change. I have my asymptote, and now I can just plug in my formula. Alright? So my formula would be 2 to the x power plus 1. So I'm going to figure out what number plus 1 gives me 8. Because remember, we look at x equals 0. And then we're going to take that and we're going to figure out what the y is. And whatever that number is plus 1 gives me this number right here. So in that case, 7 plus 1 will give me 8. So my answer looks like... Sorry, shouldn't look like that. Oh, that's why. I was so confused. All right, sorry. It's what number plus 1 gives me 9, and that number is 8. Sorry, there we go. All right, so that's why I was confused. The reason is because I was looking at this number instead of the actual y value, which was 9. So we're figuring out when x is 0, okay? So remember, this turns into 1. So we essentially say, all right, this doesn't exist anymore. So we say, what number plus 1 gives me the y value when x equals 0? And that in that case, it's 8. So it's going to be 8, parentheses 2 to the x power plus 1. All right? That's how you do that's how you find the equation based off of the graph and based off of the table. Thank you.